Texas does what Texas does best and blows another big second-half lead on the road. Sam Ehlinger will take over Matt Ryan's post in Indianapolis, and we'll talk about cars that drive very fast in circles. All this and more coming up on the Halloween edition of College Crossfire.
What are those? Coming back to that 2021 MVP. He's better than Josh Allen. He's better than Baker Mayfield. He's not better than Mahomes. I can't say that.
What you miss a kick, you get kicked. So,
You know, a bag of money or whatever, some food inside of them.
No, that is a great answer. How dare you? Oh, man.
Good evening, one and all, and welcome to College Crossfire, the best collegiate sports debate show in the world. I'm your host, Quinn Ewers, formerly known as Tommy Yarrish. We've got another great show lined up for you here, as always. Let's meet our contestants, and I want to start off by prefacing, Courtney Machani won the show last week, but we've got a special all-female crew on tonight for the first time in College Crossfire history. It's a historic week around here. Let's go ahead and see who will be joining us. Courtney will be with us next week. On first base, she usually helps us out behind the scenes, but this week she makes her way in front of the camera. It's our sports director and fellow former Westlake Chaparral and now Clemson quarterback Cade Klubnik's best friend, Samantha Perl, also known as Max Verstappen. How's it going, Samantha?
I'm good. That was an intro right there. Yes, I am Max Verstappen. I actually have a little, because Max Verstappen is one of the GOATs of F1, he has a song after him. Anyways.
We're going to breeze along past that. Next to her on second base, joining us for the first time this year on college. You know what? Actually, I'm Quinn Ewers, so I got like $3 million in NIL money here. You can just take that. Just never play that again. As I was saying, next to her on second base, she also helps out a lot behind the scenes and talks volleyball from time to time for us on College Press Box. Unfortunately, joining us today without her brother Eric and dog Colt, it's the great Ceci Rodriguez. How's it going, Ceci?
Well, that's an intro. I'm doing great, actually. I'm dressed up as the best quarterback in 2019, Mr. Joe Burrow himself, who won a ring, I will say.
Oh,
Sadly,
nice
not
ring.
last year, but whatever. I'm doing great, and I'm excited to be here.
All right, awesome. Go ahead and pass the. You can split that between you, Eric, and Colt. Give Colt some.
We need a lot of money, guys.
Yeah. And last and certainly least, as I sit on top of her mother's favorite TSTV sports anchors list since the end of last year, it's my biggest hater and critic, Edly Termilien. What's up, Edly?
What's up? I mean, this is a interesting intro, but I mean, you got one ring. I got four.
Oh, no, she's
I'm
trying to-
Clay Thompson.
Wow.
Even though,
Yeah. No need for that.
Even though I got ejected from the game, you know, it's just 4 games.
What was that for,
We're
Clay? Come on, man.
It's just Booker was just talking all that smack. I just,
That's
you
true.
know,
You got to flex the rings a little bit.
I had to flex. So, trying to get this crossfire ring. So let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, and you can go ahead and give this over to Miss Termilien. Appreciate her putting me on the top of the list. Great to have all three of you here with me tonight. We've got a really fun show lined up for you. Let's get this party started and actually, for once, take things seriously around here. Steve Sarkisian has struggled mightily on the road during his tenure at Texas. He's gone 1-6 with the singular win coming against TCU last season on the road. And that 6th loss came on Saturday against Mike Gundy and a banged-up Oklahoma State team, a game that Texas led by 2 possessions with 2 minutes left in the third quarter. Contestants, what was the overarching factor that led to the Longhorns dropping this one to the Cowboys? Samantha, we'll start with you.
Okay, so Texas had a really tough battle against Oklahoma State. And I think because of that, Quinn Ewers was off his game.
Hey.
Sorry, not this Quinn Ewers, the other one. But he only
I am no fraud.
he only completed 19 of the 49 passes he threw, 3 interceptions, and only 2 touchdowns. Horrible. There were also some other things that went wrong, like you know, people weren't stepping up to their A game, like Xavier Worthy, some other players. But Texas was highly favored to win this game, and they didn't, which is unfortunate. But and then also the quarterback, Spencer Sanders, he was injured, but he still ended up playing, and he did a decent job, which I don't know if people thought he would, do well or not. But yeah, that's my take. I think it was mainly the offense, Quinn, not this Quinn, but
Just calling you a fraud.
sorry.
You know what? I've got a big hitter. Justin, our stage manager, come here real quick, please, if you don't mind. I'm going to prove to everybody that I can't. Yeah, no, right here, right in front of the cameras. Yeah, I'm still money. Disrespectful. Disrespectful. Otherwise, all your other points are great. Ceci, moving on to second base, what are your thoughts?
Well, to start off with, the offense was just off sync. There wasn't a dynamic that we usually see. We kind of saw a glimpse of that in the Iowa State game, and I was hoping that they would have fixed that by the Oklahoma State game being a big game on the road and being the first game that Quinn Ewers could have proved himself on the road as a very new college quarterback. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. He was off communication with his wide receivers. They weren't running their routes to the full extent, and there was just an off it was an off day for Quinn Ewers, right? Overthrowing that many balls. You can blame the wind for some of them, but to be that off and throwing at least 50 passes and not making at least 20 of them, like, come on. That was just not where he needed to be and not where the Texas Longhorns wanted him to be. The defense was also, while they were great in the first half, they kind of struggled in the second half, but they kept on letting up within the third and fourth down, letting the other team convert. And that's not what they need to do. And I think that needs to be a serious problem that needs to be taken care of, is we need, because the schedule is not going to let up any soon.
Yeah, I was a little bit off with some of my passes, but the wind was the only factor to that. I mean, you can't put that on me. Come on. In all
Can't blame it for
seriousness, though,
everything.
Yeah, Quinn Ewers certainly did struggle in his first true collegiate road game, and the wind was certainly in part to that. Some of the routes, though, from his wide receivers, as you mentioned, seemed like Xavier Worthy maybe could have run some other ones a little bit further through and finished them out a little bit better to get some deep balls, but unfortunately just didn't turn Texas's way this past week. Edly, close us out.
I have to agree with a lot of them, but Anthony Cook, he broke his arm. We'll see what's going to happen. I think that was the reason why the defense fell apart. He's one of the leaders of the defense, him and Overshow. And it's just the defense just couldn't get it together. It's looking like Texas last year. They're doing really well in this first half, and then in the second half, catastrophe. It's chaos. We think we're going to win, but we don't win. So, I mean, yes, Quinn does have to have some responsibility with this game. I mean, he did took accountability and said, I have to be better. I need to practice more. So at least he's taking accountability and he's going to work on his game. But it doesn't get easier after this. This game was not easy for them. I mean, it's win or no win. It's win or go home, basically. If they don't win next week, they can kiss December goodbye.
A lot of good points and three solid answers. I do agree that I have a lot to improve on. The 3 points going to go to Ceci on this one. Samantha, you'll get the 2. Start us off. Edly, you get the 1. But 3 good answers across the board. That was a tough one to decide on. We're going to keep on talking about this. This loss comes at a time in Texas football where, like you mentioned, Edly, blowing second half leads has just become all too familiar. We saw it happen last year plenty when the Longhorns went 5-7. Folks were optimistic about how the Horns had played in the second half of most of their games this season, but Oklahoma State certainly brought back those awful memories of a season ago. And as Steve Sarkisian has simply put, he's been out-coached in the second half by his opponents as of late. So how does Sarkisian and his staff put an end to that trend and finally find a way to turn things around? Ceci?
Well, you got to start with making sure you focus on limiting costly mistakes, whether it be in the first half, but also the second half. We've seen that's where the trend of costly mistakes happen for Texas, whether that be overthrown balls, whether that be missed field goals by Bert Auburn, or whether that be annoying penalties, 14 penalties in the last game to their 0. Like, there has to be a focus on that. It's what happens because if you don't take care of costly mistakes, you'll find yourself in late game situations where you have to convert in high stakes pressure, and it's hard to. In a game like that on the road at Boone's Pickens Stadium, it's hard. So I think Texas needs to take care of that. Steve Sarkisian needs to be less conservative on his play calling sometimes, especially on third down when Texas needs to convert. And they're not. You can't let them give the ball away again when they need to score or when they need to keep that lead and give it back and give them back with enough time. That just cannot happen anymore. And lastly, like I said before, Texas defense needs to stop letting up on third and fourth downs. That cannot happen anymore. What's the good of being and stopping them on the first and second downs and letting them convert and continue the drive? You're going to just let them score at that point. So I think that just needs to be the focus. And the schedule's going to get harder, so they need to do that now.
Texas defense is seemingly one of the best in the nation on first and second down, and then it looks like just a whole new unit on third and fourth down. And like Edly touched on earlier, the loss of Anthony Cook could really amplify that. He's week to week. We'll see what his status is when we come back from the bye. This bye could not have come at a better time. They say that bye weeks are never at a bad time, but this year especially, it's at an extremely good time. Edly, you want to add on to that?
I mean, she said everything perfectly, but I'm gonna take a risk, and I think Steve shouldn't bench Quinn. I mean, he was doing so much mistakes.
Wow.
Overthrow every second. I think he should have pulled what Clemson did. I mean, DJ wasn't doing so hot. They were about to lose, and they put Case in there, and Case won the game. I think just, Hudson, he's a good quarterback, but he's not Quinn by arm strength, but Hudson can run. And that's what we saw from Spencer Sanders. Yeah. He's going to run. If he doesn't have anybody open, he's going to run. And it is what it is. Quinn's not that runner. We can tell every time he runs, he kind of doesn't know where to go. He's not really a track star. But, I think sometimes you just have to switch a quarterback for some few plays, see if that's going to happen, if what's going to happen, maybe a field goal or something. But, if he keeps playing like this, I think bench. And benching might help him. It might, he might have some competition. Hey, I'm not going to get benched again, and he's going to really take this seriously.
Yeah, I'm not getting benched again. That'll never happen. Thanks for that, though. Samantha?
I'll keep my answer short. But I think, the bye really just came, like you said, at a great time. I think they just need to clean up some mistakes. I think Texas, they are going to play teams like Kansas State and TCU, and those are both ranked. And they haven't played a ranked team since Oklahoma State, but also Alabama. So, the other teams, they haven't been ranked, and, the ones that have, they've lost the games. So I just think they have a lot to work on during this bye. And, they probably should have put Hudson in the game because Quinn was just, I'm sorry, but he's not doing well. So that's my take.
So I'm going to disagree with the two of you on the Quinn take, not because I am Quinn, but just because I think you mentioned the situation at Clemson with DJ Uiagalelei and Cade Klubnik, your best friend. The difference there is DJ Uiagalelei is a multi-year starter, and by multi I mean 2 years, who's been there before. Cade Klubnik's a guy that you just try something new on offense, whereas Hudson Card, Oklahoma State saw Hudson Card last year, and Hudson Card did not play well against Oklahoma State last year, so you throw a guy out there who has already struggled against the team, or as you get Quinn Ewers, a guy that they have limited film on. So that's, I think, the difference there. Nonetheless, though, I did like your answer the most, Edly, so you're going to get the 3 points. Ceci, you get the 2. Samantha, you get the 1 here. Last question here of the first block. And we turn to a team that on the flip side has got a lot of experience with winning, and that is Texas volleyball. They're 15-1 with the only loss coming in a shocker on the road at Iowa State, but they seemingly have bounced back from that, knocking off Texas Tech 3-0 earlier this week, and the Longhorns are the #2 team in the country. And they're hungry for a title they've strived for quite some time. Guys, who is their biggest threat right now to achieving that goal? Edly, we'll start with you.
I'm going to say Wisconsin. What's going on with them right now personally, I think that's just going to get them grinding even more. And I think they want to be back in that spot again. They want to be champions again since they won a championship in 2021. So, I mean, they're thirsty for it. I mean, people may say Nebraska, but I'm going to take, number 5. I think they're number 5 in the AP polls right now. So Wisconsin, I'm going to take Wisconsin with this one.
I believe the Badgers take on Nebraska tonight, if I'm not mistaken, the #1 team in the country. That's going to be a good matchup for all the volleyball fans out there watching. Samantha, you want to add on?
Yeah, so I think Nebraska is going to be a troublesome team. Last year Texas played Nebraska, and Texas lost. So this year, as you said, Texas is ranked #2 and Nebraska is ranked #1. And, Texas has a lot of great other players like Logan Eggleston, who was there last year, Madison Skinner. and Asia O'Neal. So, you know, I just think that's the biggest threat. But they're doing well. I just think they need to keep up the good work.
Logan Eggleston really hungry for that title. She's been here for quite some time, elected to stay another year. Ceci, close us out.
I'm going to have to agree with her on Nebraska. Nebraska is the #1 team in the nation right now and the #1 team in the Big Ten. They're undefeated. Their only loss coming in preseason to Stanford, and I would count that loss better than Texas's Iowa State loss, who was unranked on the road and in the middle of conference play. I would also argue that this Nebraska squad is great. They have one of their outside blockers, who I can't remember her name right now, who just had a career 1,000 hits, and they have one of the defending Defensive Player of the Year in the Big Ten, and they just have a great squad behind them. I think they're going to be the biggest threat because they have the toughest schedule. For those who don't know, the Big Ten is like the SEC in college volleyball. So they're coming into this tournament ready, hungry, and they're going to come for that title, and I think Texas is going to have a hard time if they don't get their mistakes taken care of.
Always tough to beat the folks down from corn country. So for that, Ceci, I like your answer the most, and it's hard to beat the volleyball analyst for our College Crossfire show, so you'll get the 3 points here. Edly, I like the unique aspect of Wisconsin. I think that game tonight really, guys, is going to determine who the biggest threat to this Texas team is. So you'll get the 2, Edly, Samantha, you get the 1. We're 3 questions in. We've got an amazing battle on our hands right now. Jumping out from front early is Ceci with 8 points. Right behind her with 6 is Edly, and closing us out with 4 is Samantha. Still a lot of time to go, though, so don't take those scores too seriously. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on College Crossfire. Welcome back to College Crossfire. Let's start with a quick score recap. In first place, it's Ceci with 8. Right behind her is Edly with 6. And last but certainly not least is Samantha with 4. Back on track here now. The Houston Astros and Philadelphia Phillies are set to face off in Game 1 of the World Series on Friday. The Astros come in undefeated in their playoff run, sweeping both the Mariners and Yankees coming into this one. And the Phillies defeated the reigning champion Braves in 4 games and the San Diego Padres in 5. It's an exciting matchup for all baseball fans and both cities who are very passionate about the sport. Guys, make your pick as to who wins it and in how many games. Edly, we'll start with you this time.
I'm going to say Stros in 7. Give me Houston in 7. Look, I like the Stros. I know people hate on them and everything, but, I mean, the Phillies are good too, so it's going to be a 7-game series, but Houston takes it.
All right, Edly's got him going the distance. Ceci.
I'm going to go for the underdog here. I'm going for Phillies in 6. I think that the Stros are going to be a little complacent. I think they got a great squad. They're hungry for it. They haven't won since 2009. They got a great squad, so I say Philly winning it in a close one.
Samantha, close us out.
I'm going to go with the Astros as well. I'm not a big baseball person, but the Astros haven't been in the World Series since 2017, and like you said, they're undefeated right now. So I'm going to go with 6 games winning, but yeah, I think they can do it.
3 good answers. I'm going to give Samantha the 3 here just because I think the Astros in 6 is the most realistic outcome. Ceci, you'll get the 2. I think yours is the second realistic outcome. Edly, you get the 1 just because I don't think it'll take all 7 to figure this one out. I think one team is just going to end up emerging being better than the other in this series, and both teams come into this one on fire, so it'll be good to see how they do head-to-head. College basketball season is here, guys, and Vic Schaefer's women's basketball team is poised for a deep tournament run this year. Rory Harmon, Cy-Fair alum, by the way, shout out to her, was one of many players who made an immediate impact for Texas in her freshman season, and lots of talented players alongside her, as always with that crew, have made similar impacts. That being said, when you take a look at this roster and you think of players like Rory last year who sort of bursted out onto the scene, who do you think has a breakout year this year? Ceci, you start us off.
I'm going to go with freshman newcomer Amina Muhammad. I think she's a great top recruit. She played for DeSoto, took him to the championship against Roy Harmon, and I think she'll be a great addition in the wing, and Coach Schaefer has a lot of big plans for her, and I think she'll just be great in the team.
Couldn't agree more. I love Amina at DeSoto, and unfortunately, Rory, I'm still rooting for you, and Kendall Hunter. At Side Creek, what a great run you guys had. But yes, she will be a great addition to the team. Samantha?
So I think we're going to have to wait and see until the DePaul matchup this weekend on Sunday. But I think the breakout player could be Taylor Jones. She is a transfer from Oregon State, and that has a great basketball team. But she was injured last year, but she's still one of those top recruits, and she's been recognized for a few preseason watch lists. So I think she could be the breakout player. But yeah, we'll just have to see. This basketball team is just, it'll be so explosive because they're so highly ranked, and there's so many great stars, like you said, Rory Harmon, and then there's several others. So, yeah.
Always good to see transfers coming back from injury. It just gives them a little bit more motivation and could lead to those breakout years, like you mentioned. Edly, close us out.
Okay, I'm going to take freshman Jardia Cotterill. I think that's her name. Look.
You think?
No, I hope I didn't butcher her name, but she's from an academy in Florida. I mean, her average is 22 points each game. I mean,
any specific academy or just a academy? Just an academy. All right. All academies in Florida are under the microscope here for Texas potential superstars. Continue.
She's from Orlando, but still.
That narrows it down.
Okay, still. She just got that dog in her. I like people who are from Florida. I mean, they got the best athletes after Texas. But still, I think she's the one to match up with Rory Harmon by scoring-wise. She's really not good defensively, but I feel like Vic Schaefer can turn her into that defense juggernaut. So I'm going to take her.
Simply because you said she's got that dog in her, you're getting the 3 points on this one. Really good answer there, although all three of those players can certainly have a big impact. Edly, you'll get the 3 here. Ceci, you get the 2. Samantha, you get the 1. Last question here for this block, guys. In amazing news for Longhorn fans earlier this week, veteran quarterback Matt Ryan was benched, and Indianapolis head coach Frank Reich named former Texas quarterback Sam Ehlinger the starter for the rest of the season, as our stage manager Justin Gooseman takes a huge celebration there. For the rest of the season, Sam takes over the reins in Indy. Who is the next NFL quarterback who needs to be benched? Samantha, start us off.
Okay, this might be a hot take. Aaron Rodgers.
Oh.
It's just, he's one of the most highly paid quarterbacks in the league, but he's just not been doing well. He hasn't been getting more than 3 touchdowns per game, and the Packers are only 4-3. So, I think he should be benched.
As a Chicago Bears fan, I strongly agree. But with him on my fantasy team, I have to disagree because my next greatest option is Marcus Mariota. Sorry, Justin. Yeah, he did great a couple weeks ago. Ceci, your thoughts?
Okay, I'm going to go with Mac Jones. He got benched on Monday. I'm going to go with Mac Jones in New England. I don't think Bill Belichick can take this anymore. They're 3-3 right now, and he hasn't been the savior that New England needed. I just think if he gets the bench and you get Zappy in, it's going to be a great season for New England.
So we got a Bailey Zappi stand over there on second base. Zap him, Bailey. At former Western Kentucky, but he couldn't zap him against the Bears.
He couldn't zap him against the Bears. I get it, yeah.
Justin Fields ran all over him. My dog. I see you, boy. All right, so we got 2 answers down. Edly, close us out.
I know he's going to be overseas. This game is overseas. But Russell Wilson needs to be benched.
Wow.
I'm sorry to my friend Clark Dartland.
I'm so sorry, Clark.
Shout out, Clark.
Sorry, Clark. Yeah. But Russell Wilson needs to be benched. After I heard about what's going on in that airplane, he's just doing high knees. I really hope that's a rumor, because if that's not a rumor, if I was a coach, you wouldn't let me sleep in the airplane. Oh, you're going to be benched. I don't care how much you're paying me. I'm going to bench you. I need some sleep. And I just think he's getting to that point where, you know, Denver has been doing this old quarterback that's been to the Super Bowl. Let's put him in this Peyton Manning savior complex. And I just think Pete Carroll was saving Russell from his own good. You just look how Geno Smith is doing. Every time the Seattle Seahawks are looking good, even when they lose, they look good. It just makes Russell look really, really, really bad. So, you know what? I'll take the 26-year-old bench second quarterback over Russ. I'm sorry. after the airplane situation, bench Russ.
Strictly because Clark Dalton is probably fuming at home listening to that. Edly, you're going to get the 2 here. I do like Samantha's answer the most here. So she'll get the 3, and then Ceci, you round us out with the 1. 3 good answers there, and we are 6 questions in with 3 to go. It's still wide open on the leaderboard. We'll give you a score break update when we come back. And then after this, it's going to be the best round of them all. We've got 1 left, and you know what that means. It's rapid fire time. Coming up next on College Crossfire. It's time for the last 3 questions of the night here on College Crossfire, and you know what that means. It's the rapid fire round where the points are double, so it's anyone's game. And before we break it down, let's give you a quick score update. Leading us now is Ceci still with 13 points. Right behind her with 12 is Edly, and then really close behind her with 11 is Samantha. So like I said, really close game. It's anybody's way. Points are double in this round. If you're new to the show, Rapid Fire is our 3rd and final segment where our contestants will have to answer 3 questions, just like they have in the last 2 rounds. But this time, they have no idea what I'll be asking. Everything is off the dome. They say defense wins championships, but that's not true. Rapid fire is what wins championships. Let's find out who tonight's champion will be. Here we go. The only reason this question is on here is because this was forced against my will by one of our contestants tonight to be incorporated in the show in some sort of way. Samantha.
What?
While I don't believe this sport should be taken seriously whatsoever, Formula One was in town this last weekend, and a lot of cars drove very fast around the track in circles with Max Verstappen and Red Bull driving faster than the other cars. That's the only analysis you're getting out of me. The tour has a lot of stops nationwide and worldwide, but in addition to everything that they've already got, what would be a cool place to build a new F1 racetrack? Anybody can take it.
I have to ask, do either of you know where some of the tracks are?
Yes, I do.
Okay, let's be real. No one knows besides Austin where the tracks are, so you can just name a nice spot and we'll give it to you.
I'm gonna say Fiji.
Ooh.
I feel like, you know, everybody wants to go to Fiji. Everybody wants to like go do overtime at their job to go to Fiji. I just think Fiji is a great spot for F1. I mean, there's already like bougie people. You know, you saw Brad Pitt there. I mean, celebrities at Fiji, and it's like, you know, you got all these like You got the ocean and everything. I mean, that's a perfect place for F1.
Nice vacation spot down there in Fiji.
You see, I'm going to say I say F1 is NASCAR for rich people, and you can't deny it. I don't care what she tells me every time. But I'm going to say they need to rough it a little bit. So I say go to Australia. All of a sudden the track goes on to the safari, and you have kangaroos just right next to it. Like, I don't know. I think that'd be fun. You got a little bit of the ocean. You got cool spots. I say Australia.
I would put my money on the kangaroos versus those extremely expensive sports cars.
Exactly.
So, Samantha, close us out.
I gotta go with the Netherlands. I mean, it's such a beautiful place. You know, you got mountains there, snow. It can be anywhere there. I mean, you know, the streets or, you know, I don't know.
Streets?
The streets. I would hope they're driving on
Street
streets.
race
Well,
in
no.
F1.
There are some races that are on actual streets. There are other places where they actually make the tracks. That's what I mean.
I'm not even going to question her. She knows what she's talking about. And for that reason, just because I am a fan of the Netherlands, grew up in the north, we like cold weather around here. Samantha, you get the 6 points here. Edly, just because I would love a nice vacation if I was to ever even come close to one of these races, which, shocker, I won't. You get the 4 here. And then Ceci, you get the 2, although I am a fan of the kangaroos. Last week, the Longhorns were penalized 14 times in the game against Oklahoma State, while the Cowboys' slate was squeaky clean. Not a single yellow cloth thrown in their direction. We asked a similar question earlier this year that resulted in some of the best answers we've had all season long. So if you were Steve Sarkisian, and keep in mind within legal and ethical boundaries, how would you approach practice this week and beyond to make sure that your team avoids getting penalties called against them in the game?
I'm going to go with making them go overeat at the Whataburger right before practice, and then just laps and laps, miles and miles and miles. And if somebody slows down, they're going to add on any more because they're not going to get any more penalties if they have to eat all that garbage and then try to run. They're just going to be throwing up all the time. I say it's the worst kind of pain as an athlete, having to do that and having to, you know, make up for the slow people. So, no. I think that'll be awful, and they'll never make a penalty again.
All right. Violently vomiting is Ceci's solution to no more penalties. So sorry to all the offensive linemen and defensive linemen out there who are now bound to this terrible punishment. So that's one option. Guys, what do you think?
Oh.
That's an evil laugh right there. Whatever is about to come out of your mouth is going to be some sinister stuff.
Oh, no.
Well, I will, get some handcuffs. And
this is not going to
This is not going to go the way it's supposed to.
That's a wild way to start.
And each player has a partner. They have to be handcuffed to each other, and they're going to have to try to work together as a team. So 2 wide receivers handcuffed together and trying to catch the ball at the same time.
I think that'll be an injury waiting to happen.
Well, it's going to be really...
That's a lot of things waiting to happen. A lot of question marks. Like I said, but within legal and ethical boundaries, guys. Anything else you wanted to add to that?
I mean, you're just going to have to, throughout the whole practice, and it's going to be a person that you don't even talk to. So it's going to be an icebreaker. So you're going to have to work with each other to...
What an icebreaker. My goodness.
To stop having penalties. I mean, I think they're just not together as chemistry, and I just think, chemistry comes with, you have to start talking to your teammates and, be friends with your teammates. Not like besties, but, I mean, at least know their favorite color. Yeah, I guess.
That was a wild roller coaster there, but okay. Samantha?
Because it's the spirit of Halloween, take them to a Halloween store. If they keep on getting penalties, make them spend more money. Make them buy things.
Money.
Wear costumes. Make them spend all their NIL money. Boom.
So, Coach Perl over here is going to drive her players into bankruptcy. You can't do that with me. I got way too much money. Wow. So I have no idea how to even split these points up. I'm gonna give Ceci the 6 here, just because I think that for an actual punishment, that's about as close that we can get to something that realistically happens.
Yes.
Right behind her, Samantha, you'll get the 4, even though nobody's touching my money. And then Edly, What? For that reason, you'll be getting it too. Last question here for all the marbles. As you can see, we've all dressed up for our Halloween episode. So go ahead and give us your best impersonation of the person that you are dressed as. Oh, this will be fun.
Oh.
You know, I don't know why all the girls get the flowers. I want somebody to give me a flower. I want somebody to run up and give me a flower.
Anybody got a flower around here? No, it doesn't look like it.
I'll go.
Was that an impersonation? Yes? Okay. I didn't know if you were actually asking for a flower or not.
It's a Joe Burrow. Never mind.
Am I missing something here? Am I missing
Go
a joke?
Tigers! Go
Am I
Tigers!
missing a joke?
Go
Little
Tigers!
joke here?
Go Tigers!
I know
You have
he
a
ran
whole
out of it.
cigarette. You could just.
Yeah, you
blow.
should have just get the gat dance.
Get the gut. Get the gut. Get the gut. Come
Okay,
on.
you'll get points for that. Two more left, guys.
I'll go next. So, as Max Verstappen is the two-time world champion, he always says this one line.
You don't even know the line? Come on, Max.
I said a quote. She didn't know the line.
He's Dutch.
Say.
No, I know the line. It's keep pushing, but I can't say it in the accent because he's Dutch. But he always says keep pushing. But there's 3 more races I think left, so he's gonna try to get those points. Even though Red Bull won the constructors championship and he won the world championship, but Red Bull obviously still use the.
No, I gave her money not to, please. I just want to say that if you had literally said cargo room, you would have won this show outright. Samantha, Edly, close us out.
Okay, I'm on the boat. Rocco, it's my boy Rocco. four rings, baby, 4 rings. Ah, my hat. Oh, damn, my hat. Right before the parade. Right before the parade.
Very well done.
Good job. Good job.
Guys,
Good
go
job.
ahead and make sure that you never enroll in any acting classes for your own sake. I know I need the acting classes as well, so we'll certainly do that as we move along. What a great show we had. What a great way to close everything out. Thank you guys all 3 for being here. This was so much fun. One of our best shows of the season. But as you all know, there can only be one winner. Today's College Crossfire champion, by a margin of just 1 point, is, drumroll, Joe Burrow, also known as Ceci, on second
Let's
base.
go. Where's my ring?
No,
Where's
you
my
gotta
ring?
Get the get.
Get the
There we go. There we go. All right.
Hey,
Justin, do we have time for FaceTime?
Yes.
Yes. Ceci, take it away.
So first, I want to thank my family. They're probably not watching this, but I love you. But I want to thank the best quarterback 2019. He had the best strip. Thank you for the best style. He still has the best style. Don't argue with me. And I almost went to LSU, so kind of sad I didn't get to see that. But thank you, Joe Burrow, for being the best quarterback in the league.
Okay.
All right. A huge shout out to Eric back at home, as well as the great dog.
Mike Coltes.
Colt, we miss you, buddy. Congratulations to Ceci, our winner, and huge thanks to Samantha, or Max, and Edly, also known as Clay, for joining us tonight. You guys were all great. That's going to do it for us here in the TSTV studios. Before you go, make sure to remember to come back Friday mornings for the 1-0 Sports Show with Adam Ogburn, and Monday nights for College Press Box. Thank you to our live studio audience for coming out and being great tonight. As always, for our contestants, everyone in Master Control, our executive producer, Jordan Galehood, and all the other great folks at TSTV, my name is Tommy Yarrish saying good night, and we'll see you next time.